as usual, here's your quick heads up to this FMQ. And I'm really curious and I'm really interested to find out a little bit more about you. Isn't that interesting? Are you curious? Have a listen. This podcast started off one way, and suddenly the questions I was asking came up with other answers and other questions or another purpose. It really is it was so interesting to me, and I think you'll find it too. Let's get curious together. Enjoy. Oh, by the way, if you're new to this, just again, have a listen to the intro which comes right after this. And if you're part of the Unplugged family, just skedaddle 1.5 minutes and I'll begin. See you in a minute. This is a FMQ, the 5-minute quickie podcast from me, Paul Clough, from this niche of one, hopefully a niche of one, of unplugged personal development. It's to get you thinking, to give you information, to give you some real good snippets of processes that you can use right now in this genre of personal development, breaking things down into simple how-tos that get results, minimum amount of effort to get the maximum amount of return and make life brilliantly good. Because in this world of personal development, self-improvement, I believe things have been made far too complicated, or people are talking about things that they just do and they don't explain how they did them. And I'm creating processes to enable you to get those type of results easily and effortlessly. And more importantly, simply, because as Einstein once said, in simplicity there's genius, so therefore we're going to create things simple. Simples. I want you to encourage you to have your dreams, to notice that sometimes when you haven't got them, it wasn't your fault. Yes, we have to take responsibility for the decisions we made, but we made those decisions with the information, the wisdom we had right then. And now you've got a chance to really create the world you want to live in and create the you want to be fully integrated, being authentic, singing from the right voice, not the right voice, your voice, and become part of this unplugged personal development team, this family, this thing that we're creating, and sharing everything we do with everybody. So please enjoy, have more fun than you can stand, and please just listen and enjoy.
Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hey, welcome back to the 5-minute quickie. And as I said, this is, I think you'll find it quite interesting really, because it's something that when you have a difficult situation, someone says something that challenges you, and sometimes you might react in the wrong way. There's 4 questions that you can choose to ask that will just, get that other person to open up. So instead of being challenged, you have to be curious and you have to be sincere in your curiosity. This is not one of those cliquey, made up things that you're just going to do and it's like a technique. You have to be curious to find the answer. So it's not just a put off. It's not a put down. You actually, someone says something to you which maybe you want to rise to. But instead of rising, you just go, hey, that's interesting. I wonder, tell me more. Or, that's interesting. Tell me more about X, and repeat the words they said. And then be quiet. Because they will now have to go inside to find an answer. And you'll know when they are going inside to find the answer because their eyes will start to move around. You'll see them searching in different sections of their vision, as it were. And that's when they're really looking for an answer inside. Or you can say, and it all starts with, That's interesting. You go, that's interesting. I wonder, why would you say a thing like that? And wait. Because when you leave the gap, guess what? If you're not going to fill it, they will. And again, you'll see their eyes. It's called I think it's called a trans-derivational search. It's searching all the different areas of their mind. And you see it by their eyes. And they have to then come back with an answer of why they would say that. Now, sometimes when you say why, you might get a belief, which is interesting. But just notice, why would you say that? I'm really interested. I'm curious. So that's interesting. I'm curious. Or if they did something which would challenge you, you might go, hey, that's really interesting. I'm curious. Why would you do that? Or if they mentioned about doing something, why would you do that? And tell them specifically that you're talking about, that behavior. Because if you leave it too open, they may fudge it. But if you go, that's interesting. I'm really curious to know, why would you do X, Y, Z? And because of that, it's no longer a challenge because you're really finding the true meaning behind either their behavior or what they're saying. And finding with sincerity and curiosity the real meaning. You're going below the level. It's like, I think we call meta-questioning. It's going below the surface to find more detail, becoming more specific. And when people do that, not only do you learn, but they learn. Or maybe someone asks you a question that you think, I'm not sure what's going on here. You can just answer that question with another question. You go, that's interesting. I'm really curious. Why would you ask X, Y, Z? And then have that gap, that silence. It's like sitting on your tongue. Just wait. And you'll see them search. And they'll come up with an answer. And you can go back to the same thing. Right, that is really interesting. I wonder why you said that. Or why that came out. And you can carry on, allowing them to fulfill or enrich what they've said or what they've done. And to me, this is not a technique because you're doing it with an intention to understand. And when you truly understand, you're then, you're really communicating. And the thing about when you really are interested in them, you become interesting to them. And that's a wonderful part of rapport. So it starts off with maybe a challenge, ends up with rapport. Now that to me is a real skill. Now you may know this, I don't know. I thought I did, but I didn't. I knew things like this, but this just seemed to resonate with me. Saying, that's really interesting. I'm curious. Tell me more. I wonder why you would say that. I wonder why you'd do that. I wonder why you'd ask that. There they go. Make a little note in your Jenny journal. Repeat them, learn them, until they become natural. And you'll get that rapport, but you'll also find that it wasn't a challenge. You'll find something interesting about that person. And maybe you'll find something about yourself. So maybe, and here's the real devil in this one. What would happen if you did this to yourself? Whoa, that's a real interesting thing. So, maybe you're writing something or you're saying something out loud. And you say to yourself with your Jenny journal open, write down what you've just said, what you've just done. And you go, that's interesting, Paul. Tell me more about that. Or, hey, Paul, that's really interesting. Why would you say a thing like that out loud? Why would you say a thing like that to yourself? And be quiet and let your pen write. Or say you did something that you wonder, hey, I'm curious. Why did I do that? What's behind that? What am I trying to do? What's my intention? And now we're getting even deeper still, but deeper about ourselves. And that's where this thing really works. Because initially, it starts off as a little bit of a technique. And then it gets to a point where we create rapport and we really become interested and curious about other people. And now we turn it on ourselves. Woo. And this is when we really find that We get rapport with ourselves, but also find out what's going on below our surface. And when you learn about things like that, man, that's when the world starts changing. And we talked about, when you evolve, the whole world around you, your reality revolves. Revolves? Evolves. It might revolve as well, because sometimes these questions will make your head spin. But it's a good spin. And when you change, everything around you, your reality changes too. The people in your reality change too. Because you become interesting and interested. And if you can't be interested in yourself, well, that's the best place to start, isn't it? Now, to me, this is a I can say that again. This is the real weird thing about these podcasts. That last little bit about turning on yourself just came to me as I was speaking. And it's like your unconscious mind saying, come on, Paul, you know more about that. That's interesting. What would happen if you did this? Tell me more. Why would you say that? Isn't it funny that those questions have virtually asked themselves and they got an answer? Let's turn it on ourselves. I would love to know how this works with other people and with yourself. So please do let me know. You can just email me, paul@paulclough.co.uk. And if there's anything that we can expand upon here in the podcast, let me know too. What hypnosis tracks would you like to have? What would you like the podcast to expand into? I've talked about we're going to do something on loneliness and being alone. But what other things would you like? Or where would you like the path of that to go, to explore? And let's explore it together, because you and I are this unplugged niche of personal development. It's ours. And then because it's ours, we will then share it. Selfless service, we will share it to this integrated field of learning, to our friends, to anybody who is willing to listen, basically, to learn. And then we will, again, change and be the change we want to see in others. Because when you share it, I always say when you share your knowledge, it does a number of things. When you share it to other people, it's like relearning it. And it works so well. And that's why I love doing the podcast, because, this is me, for me. In some ways, I'm relearning the things I talk about. But also, I get to keep it, even though I give it to you. And that's the best type of gift, isn't it? That I get to keep the gift that I give to you. And then you think about it and maybe give me that gift back again, but expand it upon the way that you have been curious about it. You've thought about it. And now you get to keep that and the first gift, and I get to get that second gift, and then we maybe share it with somebody else, and they come back, and it's like pay it forward. It just builds with that wonderful world exponentially. I think that's the right way of saying it. And we all get to have more fun than we can stand. We all get to really enjoy every heartbeat. And that's what I want for you. So that's interesting, isn't it? Tell me more. Speak to you real soon. Bye-bye now. Hey, just before you go, I've just got two or three little bits of information I'd like to share with you. The first one is, unfortunately, the introductory prices at paulcloughonline.com, the programs such as Free Your Life from Anxiety, Supreme Inner Confidence, the hypnosis tracks there, the paid ones, well, they're all going up in price because this introductory period is coming to an end. But here's the big but. If you join the community by merely just joining paulcloughonline.com/podcast, as usual, you'll get free access to all the hypnosis tracks that are attached to this podcast. You'll also get, now and again, discounts and offers on those programs, only if you want them, and I'll also extend that guarantee completely. And also, you get surprise hypnosis tracks and coaching tracks that won't be available on this podcast, because I want to be able to share even more to the people who are really doing this work and really getting into it. So if you'd like that, go to paulcloughonline.com/podcast, get your free access to all those hypnosis tracks and more. Now, the other thing is, did you enjoy this episode of the Personal Development Unplugged podcast? Because if you did, I know time is finite. We've only got so much time in this world and how we use it. But if you did have time to share, wouldn't it be nice if you share this episode or one of your favorite episodes to some friends or unfriends, people who you feel might need it? Because you'll be doing them one of the greatest services, is showing them a way to change themselves. And in that way you wouldn't, well, one thing you'll never know though, is how far the ripples of those change will go. But I know they'll go further than you can imagine, because those changes will make changes in other people as well. And in that way we create a community, but also create a community for change. And the big picture is we will change this little earth we live on in a good way. That would be brilliant, I think. And also, lastly, but not leastly, if you'd like to receive these podcasts on whatever you listen to them on, just subscribe. So you can subscribe to iTunes. If you wish, and it'd be really kind if you did, leave a little 5-star review, or any star review, obviously. But leave a review if you could, that'd be nice. But also there's another great app that I found. I mentioned it before. It's called Castbox. 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 And again, it has a subscription button. It gives you a place where you can leave a review. But also what I did find out is when you subscribe, you get a facility to search through all the episodes of Personal Development Unplugged. So if you want something for, say, confidence or grief or sadness, or you put that word in and search through and see what comes up. There's so many there. Might be able to make you find the ones that you want that much more easier. Now the thing is, if you can't find them, let me know by email, paul@paulclough.co.uk, and I'll guide you to the right place. Also, if there's anything you'd like me to discuss, go deeper with, an issue you have, that obviously you'll remain anonymous. Don't worry about that, because we can dive deep into it. We can come up with some processes. We'll develop a process if need be. But also, it's like when you're in one of those seminars, someone asks a question and you go, oh, thank God. They asked a question I've been wanting to ask, but I didn't feel brave enough. Well, now you can ask that question with complete safety. Send me the email and we'll discuss it, dive deep, find answers for you and all the other people who have similar issues, and we can develop it like that. And let's develop this community. So thank you for this bit of time for listening here. I'm going to get off and get ready for the next one. Okay? So see you soon. Well, enjoy. Well, I mean it so much. Enjoy every heartbeat and have more fun than you can stand. Until next time, it's Paul. Bye-bye.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.